Are you ready for a little Christmas in July projects? And boy, do I have the perfect one for you. We are going to make some Christmas photo cards that are magnets. And the cool part is if you start now, you can do them all yourself and it won't be a disaster. So we're going to do this a little bit differently than you're used to doing. I'm going to introduce you to some new software to make this a lot easier for us. But before we jump in, I just want to say, hey, I'm Christy. Welcome if you're new here. I'm here to help you master your silhouette. And sometimes that means some other softwares as well. So the way that we're going to do this today is we are going to do the kind of Christmas card photo part of it in Canva. And then we'll take it from Canva into Silhouette to get everything cut out and created. So let's jump in and I'm going to take you over to Canva and show you how we're going to do this. Okay, so here I am, canva.com. And let's start on the home page. So this is what you'll see. And we're going to search here for Christmas cards. And if you're new to Canva, this is kind of the latest and greatest graphic design software. A lot of people use it for creating their social media. It's got some templates in here for all sorts of different things. I use Canva a lot. Again, create social media, to create my thumbnails for YouTube, to create all of the worksheets that I make. So Canva's really easy to use. And the great thing is there's lots of templates here that we can choose from. And you'll notice if it has a little crown on it, that's because it's a pro. You can do Canva for free. And you would just want to make sure you're picking free designs on here to use. But you can see, you've got these ones here that have multiple different photos. You can do just this kind and just print them and be done. Multiple pictures here, bigger, smaller, different shapes. And all of this just makes things a little bit easier on us to do it this way. This is kind of cute. A lot of these are pro ones. I like this one. It is pro, but I think this is the one we're going to use here. So you'll notice in this picture, clearly your pictures will look a lot more unified if you do a little photo shoot first. But you'll notice that I did not do that, and I'm just pulling in pictures that I have. So I am just going to go ahead and just customize this template. So it pulls it in and you get your own board here. And then I've already uploaded pictures, but you can come over here to uploads. You can upload your own pictures. I tried to pick a couple that would be relatively themed how we want. And then I'm just going to go ahead. The cool thing is you just click and drag a photo where there was a photo, and it will just plop that right into place. And I'm gonna do this one over here. And I think I'll do this one here. And then if you click on them, you can double click and then you can adjust how they're cropped in here. And then I can hit done, or you can do that smart crop. Same with this one. I want to kind of, let's see when they smart crop it. They actually zoom it in. Sometimes I don't really love how they smart crop because to me that feels a little bit too zoomed in. So I'm just going to take this and try to zoom it back out a little bit so you can actually see my face. Okay, I like that. And then this one, I'm going to do a smart crop. I tilted it a little bit. And then you can always come in. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, try to cut out that couch that's there. And the focus is on the puppy dog. Oh, let's get that couch just a little bit more. So double click will also do the trick. Okay. So again, mine are not honestly, these pictures are not all taken in the same year. You know, the background, the color, nothing on this is uniform. So I would definitely recommend sit your family on the couch, take some pictures, put your phone on a timer and get some pictures. You can do that now in July, and then you have plenty of time to get this done. And then over here, it says best wishes from the Wilson family. We can go ahead and change that and put your name on here. We're gonna say from Crafty Christy. And I don't like best. I'm gonna do warm wishes. I like that better. Okay, and then that's all I have to do. This looks pretty darn good. Everything looks good here. So all I have to do is come up here to share. And we're gonna do download. I don't wanna, so you have lots of options here. You could send it to Canva and they will print you off copies, but I'm just gonna download, and I'm gonna download as a PNG. I'm gonna leave the size how it is. I don't need a transparent background for this one because I want that colored background that's there. So I'm just gonna hit download. I have mine set to make me pick where my downloads go. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop this into my downloads folder. I'm gonna leave that name. We can hit save. And then now we can take that into Silhouette Studio. So here I'm gonna do file and merge so it'll pull up right where I have it. And then we'll go ahead and just pull that in. So now you look at this and you're like, oh, it's not very big at all. We're at 4.7 by 6.6. So I'm going to leave that ratio aspect locked, and I'm going to see if I can get some more round numbers here and do 5 inches high and then 7 inches wide. That's a little bit more round numbers. I like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and change my media size is going to be letter. And we are going to come down here to print and cut. I'm going to enable my registration marks. We are going to do this as a print and cut. And then I like to turn down those insets, make sure it all fits. And you can certainly, I think we could probably fit 2 copies here. If I take down the length of that grayed out area and the registration marks and make them as small as they go, but we can turn up the thickness a little bit. That might help. And then let's see, can we fit 2 of them on here? Control and down. And I bet it's gonna be close. And I've got that red line that you're seeing is my cut line, and everything's in there. So I could certainly do 2 of these. So that's great. All right, that's all ready to cut. And then if you scroll down on this print and cut panel, you have right here this print. So we can go ahead, before we do that, let's just go to our send panel and see what things look like. Because this is the thing when you're looking at photos, you see there's nothing here to cut. So we need to go ahead and define those borders so it knows where to cut. And if I click on this, if I say use the outline of these, it'll go ahead and cut that outline. So that's all I need to do for these. That makes it really simple because we're only cutting the outline. So what I did, we're going to use tool number 1 to cut these out, and I said use outline of selection. So it's just going to cut on that red line. So that looks good. I always like to check that before I print anything to make sure that it is indeed going to cut how I want it. Okay, back to this print and cut panel. All I have to do is hit print. I'm checking to make sure all of my registration marks are showing up. That looks good. And then we can go ahead and hit print. I'm going to go ahead and modify my preferences. I'm doing photo printing. And my print paper size is letter, and I want high quality printing. I'm just going to do 1 copy. I can hit OK. I can hit apply. And then I am using 3M premium photo paper. I've had this forever and ever, but I like it. It works really well. And this is high gloss, instant dry. This is just what I have laying around. So while that's printing, let me also say that you do not have to use Canva to create these images. You could certainly go ahead and do this in Silhouette Studio. Let me kind of show you real quick how we would do that. So in Silhouette Studio, if I wanted to create this, all I would do is come in here, make my rectangle the shape that I want, and we can go ahead and give that a background color. And I'm just going to use my eyedropper and see if I can't make things this exact same thing. I'm going to leave that line on there so it'll go ahead and I have a cut line. And then we'll go ahead and make another copy. So you could do this as an internal offset to make your second copy. About there, we're going to hit apply. We're going to turn that one white. So far looks pretty good, right? And then to make these little ones, we're going to go ahead and grab that rectangle tool again. And then you get to decide on the size that you want these. So I'm just going to make 2 copies, control and down arrow key for those. And then let's make one this direction. And this should be, let's see how these look on here. And I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not like looking at numbers or anything right now. I'm just trying to get things kind of situated down here. Oop, this one needs to be a little bit shorter. Okay. So this is the fun of trying to work with lines. So let me just go ahead and give these a fill just so they're a little bit easier to grab when they have fill colors than when it's just a line. Okay, so then let's see, these were all pretty close together, and then they had a lot more room on the bottom, which means this one needs to shrink some more. Okay, so there's kind of like the basic layout of what we have. And then we can go ahead and add our text. Merry Christmas. And I'm going to give that same coloring. We'll get rid of that line color. Actually, we'll make it white to kind of match what they've got going on here. And you can see I'm just giving that white like an outline to make it fit. Okay. And that goes on this white area here. So, you know, this is not a complete replica of what's there. And then you could bring in any kind of SVGs that you have, little designs here. I can, let's see, file merge. Let me see if I can find some holly. Okay, so here I brought in some holly that I had. I want that. Shift and unclick that. I'm just going to group this. Can make it a little bit smaller. And then I can put that right here. Let me bring, there's a group of 3. Oops. Control Z. Too many things on my desk. I can't hit the right keys. There we go. Okay, this little group of 3. We'll group that together. And then I can make this a little bit smaller and put this one. Oh gosh, I keep grabbing the wrong thing. And then that can sit right there. And then to add your photos, like what's here, all you would do, let me just bring in another file. So I'm just gonna merge it in so I don't have to lose my, my page here. And then I'm just gonna kind of zoom that down, and then I'm gonna lay it. I like to kind of put it behind the photo that's there. So let me just send that, oops, not quite that far. Okay, let's try again. Bring that to the front. I want to go backward. Nope. Okay, we're gonna have to send it all the way to the back, but you can kind of guesstimate where that's gonna go. And then with that selected, hold down the shift key, and I'm gonna grab this one here, and then come over to the modify panel and hit crop. And you'll see what that did was it cropped my photo to that shape. So that's how I would make this my own right here in Silhouette. You could certainly go ahead and pull in some digital papers if you wanted to make this like a printed background, you know, but there's two different ways for you to sort out how to make this for yourself. Okay, that's all done printing. Let's get things set up on our Silhouette. So you'll notice I've got the Cameo 4 out today. My Cameo 5 is in timeout. The Bluetooth is on the fritz at the moment. So good thing I have another one to use. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put this on here. We're just gonna do this like a regular print and cut on my sticky mat. Everything looks good here. And then we can just get this loaded in. And this should work with my regular settings for cardstock. So let's come over to our send panel. You can see here, it's only going to cut those two sections right there. And I'm gonna do this with my 80-pound cardstock, which is the settings I just like to use a lot. We can go ahead and send that. It's gonna read those registration marks. And then based on where those registration marks, then it'll know where to cut. Oh my goodness, don't tell me we're having Bluetooth issues on this one too. Registration failed. Let's see. So you can see down here it says failed to detect registration marks. To retry automatically, click register, or I can go ahead and click manual. I'm gonna give that another try, but before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and just shut my lid and see if that doesn't take some of the shine away. And then I'll go ahead and just hit register, and then we'll cross our fingers that having that lid closed is enough, and that is not. So this is the curse of shiny paper. Doesn't like it. Okay, so we're gonna do manual. And the fun part with manual is where you can use the arrows on your keyboard here. You can either do it at your computer or right here. Down is further in, up is bringing it further out. You know what? I don't know if it printed those. Yeah, it did. It did. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna come in with my Sharpie marker because this is shiny, and sometimes just being shiny makes it difficult. Can you see what I'm doing? Yeah. And I'm just going to go over all of these and just put them in Sharpie, because then that will just kind of dole it out a little bit. Make it a little bit easier for it to read and not have so much glare. Plus, these can be a bit thicker when I do it with my marker. So we're tricking the system here a little bit. Okay, hopefully that will work. Go ahead and put this back in. And you know what? This is not where it's supposed to be. All right, turn her off. And let me get this slid all the way over where it needs to go. Turn it back on. Now it's in the right place. Okay, we can go ahead, load this in. It should read now. I think it was more of an alignment issue than anything else. Right now it's trying to reconnect. But I think I noticed that the cut head was over a little bit too far, so that means where it would do the sensor reading was not going to be in the right place. So that was going to make it difficult, and it was never going to read. So you can see now it's syncing. It always takes a while. Now it's ready. We're cutting those edges. Same cut settings. Going to go ahead and just get rid of that. And I'm going to hit send. Fingers crossed things work out for us this time. Look at that. It's reading that first registration mark. Oh, it still didn't like it. Still didn't like it. Okay, so we'll try it again with the lid closed and see if that doesn't help with the shine. So I'm just gonna hit automatic and re-register, and we'll see if that registers better. It is not. Okay, so what do you do when it doesn't work? I pull out my Picscan mat. And we can go ahead and just unload this guy. Plop that right here on my Picscan mat. Get that pressed down there really well. So now what I have to do is take a picture of this with my phone. So the way that I do it is I'll come in here with my phone. You want to get a good picture, make sure the entire mat is in there. Can you see the picture I'm trying to take? Let me make sure I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to get that whole mat in there. So there's the picture that I took. So it has the entire mat on there. And then I'm going to email this picture to myself. And then I will be able to put this picture into Silhouette. And then from there, we'll get it set up. And this is my hack. Okay, you didn't know we were in for such a doozy today, did you? Okay, I don't even know if my phone is registered, so we'll step through all this together. Not print and cut, Picscan. Here we go. So open Picscan image. I'm not going to worry about calibrating right now. I'm just going to import an image. So I went ahead and saved that. We can open that. No calibration profile found to match. Highly recommend that you get this calibrated. I will leave a link to a video below that walks you through calibrating the Picscan and what all that looks like. I'm going to be a rebel today and just take my chances. So we're going to continue without calibration. So now it's going to load that image up. Could not load image. Could not detect Picscan markings. Please retake photo. Ensure good lighting conditions and ensure Picscan markings are clearly visible without obstruction. Okay, so it looks like some of those on the bottom got cut off. So let me try that again. Okay, new photo inserted. Again, we're going to be a rebel, and I'm going to import, continue without calibration. I already imported the image. It's loading. You'll see this one, how all of the images were there. So now look at this and look how great this is. So now when I come over to the send panel, let's see if it'll do anything for us. If we do use outline of selection, it is not. So we're gonna come back to design. Always like to check. We're gonna grab our rectangle tool. And you know what? I actually want these to be rounded, and that wasn't an option. So we're gonna go ahead and round these corners and just make it slightly smaller on those corners. I know that's really hard to see on that red, isn't it? If I zoom in ever so slightly. So I've got it right here on that border, just gonna trim that corner. And then I just need this to come out a little bit further, right to that corner. Just gonna cut that border. And then these nodes here are going to, you can move those around and that'll affect what your curve looks like. I'm happy with that curve, so I'm just gonna go ahead and right click and hit convert to path. That is now a cut line. I know it's very difficult to see. Let's see if this is any easier to see in yellow, and then I'll just thicken it up just so you can see what that looks like. So you see how we're right on the line there? And I'm gonna just bring that right to this edge. That looks better. And then I'm gonna make a copy, so Control and right arrow key gave me a copy, and then I'm just gonna pull that copy around this bottom one here. And then we're just kind of eyeballing everything, making sure we're happy with the way that looks. I want you to come around that corner a little bit more. I think that should be good right there. So let me zoom out here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Control Z. Wrong button. Zoom out. There. Okay, so the yellow lines are what we're gonna cut. I think that looks good. We should be fine. We're gonna come to send, and you can see how it outlined those yellow buttons. Use the outline of the selected. I'm gonna use that regular heavy cardstock with a blade of 4. That is my go-to. I'm gonna get rid of this failed registration. We don't need that. It knows that it's on the pick scan. So now all we have to do is load in our pick scan. So pick scan mat here. Very obvious, has the arrows. We're just gonna go ahead and load that right on in. And then so if you were gonna use the pick scan mat instead of doing this as a print and cut, which you absolutely could do it like that every time, then you don't need to worry about the registration marks. You would just completely skip that step and just go straight to using the pick scan. So the pick scan has its own built-in registration marks. Up here, there's this one here, and then this. So it's gonna look for those, not the ones that we put on there. So I've got all my settings. I'm just gonna hit send. And then it should go ahead and start reading the pick scan registration marks. Awesome. I love it when something finally works out, right? Okay, so now it should go ahead and then get our blade set and get that cut out. So not only did I show you how to go ahead and create a copy in Silhouette Studio to do this yourself, but I've just given you hacks on how to make print and cut work if it's not working where you're at. And apparently it wants to do true passes, and I did not tell it to do that. Isn't that interesting? So she's going rogue. That's all right. That cut. Didn't even quite cut through. I'm quite surprised. It's been a long time since I've cut photo paper. So let's go ahead. The nice thing is with those lines, you don't have to worry about if it's in the right place. I'm just gonna go ahead and let it go ahead. Let's turn that force up to 33. Blade up to 4. Everything else should be fine. I'm just gonna go ahead and send it again. And then I'll be back when it's done cutting. Okay, that time that worked. So we've got the photo part of it, and that looks great. So now the next thing we have to do is sort out how are we gonna turn this into a magnet. And I gotta be honest, I have been trying for a couple of years to sort out cutting this magnet stuff that I have. So let me show you. I've got Craftopia adhesive magnet sheets. And I have been trying really, really hard to find a good cut setting that you can get consistent results on. And I'm just not there. So the nice thing is these are very simple shapes. So what we're going to do on the adhesive side, that's where we're going to put this. And I like to do this separate so that I don't really goof it up, because I am really great at goofing it up. I'm gonna come in with my pen. I'm just gonna try to leave this, I'm gonna flip this over so I don't get fingerprints all over it. And I'm just gonna line it up, and we're gonna unfortunately cut this one out by hand, just because I just don't have great consistent cut settings, and I don't want you to ruin all of this sheets of this stuff like I have done. So that just gave me one little spot there, and then I'm sure you cannot probably see that line, but I can see that line. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that here as well. And I'm just tracing out lines here. Rough lines. And then I'm gonna come in with my scissors, and I'm just gonna cut these out by hand on those lines. So wish me luck about cutting a straight line, because that is definitely not easy for me to do. Which is why I have a cutting machine. So I've tried my 3mm blade to do this. And what I found with that is the deeper the blade setting you use, the less force you can use, because it's really getting caught. The 3mm blade also adds all that extra circles around the edges, which just wastes material. And I didn't like that part of it either. I did try with the auto blade. At some point I had like the auto blade maxed out on a blade of 10 and like 4 passes. And then when I did that, like I could get it sometimes, but it wasn't consistent enough for me to tell you that like these settings will work, and I know they'll work and they should work every time. So the thing that I found to be the most consistent is for me to cut things by hand. So I didn't round all the corners, but all I have to do now is peel the adhesive off this side. And then try to get this lined up on the edge. And then this corner, you get one shot at it. So take your time. Oh, and that worked. Wonderful. And then all I'm gonna have to do now is come around and just clean up this corner edge, and then I have a little bit right here to clean up. It's mostly just these corners to finish cleaning. Okay, finished product. Got our pictures on there, and then we've got the magnet on the back doing all the job. And boy, did this project take us for a loop. So we started trying to do this as a regular print and cut project with the photo paper. The print and cut didn't work, so we ended up pulling out the pick scan mat. Went a little rogue on that one, but got it done. And these I think are super cute, and I can't wait to send this out for Christmas this year. Have a photo shoot, do it now, have some fun, really get into Christmas in July, throw the tree up, put on some decorative clothes, get your photos done, and then you can go ahead and get this done. Before you go, check out the videos up here. I think you're gonna like watching these next. I'll see you over there.